Now, theology can be tough, and Catholic theology can be very tough and making one uncomfortable sometimes, particularly in our increasingly anti-Catholic world. I won't say anti-Christian. Sure, it's true anti-Christian. Catholicism is Christianity, so I like to be precise. Christianity is a whole smorgasbord of ideas, really. All kinds of people call themselves Christian. But Catholic, you know Catholic, by measuring the person's belief against what's in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And if you're of a very traditional disposition, then look at the Catechism of the Council of Trent. That'll be fine too. We know what Christianity is in a precise way by looking at those catechisms. Well, the Catholic Church has ever taught that the reason the Jews did not have a homeland, lost their homeland 2,000 years ago, and never had a homeland after that, was because of this act, this crime. And if you read chapter 9 of the book of Daniel, you will see that it is prophesied 600 years before Christ that they will kill the Christ and the town, that is Jerusalem, will be destroyed. This explains everything. But if you go back to Genesis that I quoted, Cain, who is seen as a type of the Jewish nation by the fathers, Cain is to wander and wander and wander, but he is not to be killed. This is why any pogrom against Jews is a crime. Jews are not to be killed. Jews have this status that they're unredeemed, that they're like every human being is redeemed. They're unsaved. They're in error. Their religion is false and increasingly became false, more and more false, over the centuries after they had killed Christ. But they are not to be harmed. This phrase, sicut Judaeus non, the Catholic doctrine, you do not harm Jewish people for being Jews. And when a Jewish person converts to the Catholic faith, they cease to be a Jew. One might say, oh, what do you mean they cease to be a Jew? Well, of course, ethnically, they don't change from what they are. Everybody is what ethnically they were before their baptism. So that's not the thing that changes. What changes is their fundamental spiritual nature, if I can put it that way. The mark that we all bear, the mark of original sin, is removed. Though in all of us, its consequences can remain, just as a cancer can be cut out, but the body remains affected by having had the illness, compared to a body that never had the illness in the first place. And just to confirm that a Jew ceases to be a Jew in the spiritual sense, remember, St. John speaks of the Jews again, as if they're not him. But he, St. John, was a Jew. He's not talking ethnically, he's talking spiritually. The entire nation of Israel could have converted to Catholicism upon the teaching of the apostles after Pentecost. And then they would have ceased to be Jews. But they would have been ethnically Jews. The fact that they didn't, though, meant that the wandering that Cain speaks of is their lot. Elsewhere in a vision I've read, Jesus speaks of, he prophesies the regathering of Israel as a kind of dead tree, appearing to be full of life and flowering again, but actually dead. And that can be seen as the modern state of Israel. Regathered, the people regathered after 19 centuries, because shortly thereafter will come the event which brings about the end of the world. So we, in the 21st century, can see that we are nearing the end of normal history at any rate. And in all this, let's not forget Judas himself. What a complex character. Here he is, as he says, he's been bad-mouthing Jesus. And now he's extremely penitent because Jesus has lavished upon him his love, or rather, he's always lavishing his love upon him. But he's said to everybody, Judas is his dearest disciple. And this is not hyperbole by Jesus. You find that Jesus' love for Judas is of a unique kind. Perhaps because he knows who Judas is, what his weaknesses are, how he fundamentally needs healing. And so Judas repents. And he really means it. This is not the only time this happens. Judas really means it. But he needs this constant affirmation. Obviously, two forces are in Judas. And in the end, the dark force wins.